All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you all here to the November 17th special meeting of the governing body of Spring Hill, Kansas. And if you guys would like to stand with me, we'll go ahead and do the invocation. And Mrs. North is going to do it this evening.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity that we have to meet as citizens in the council, and we pray for thy guidance and direction as we listen to the needs of this community, that we might use wisdom and discernment. And we thank thee for all that thou hast blessed us with, and pray for the people of our community that they'll be able to have the necessities of life that they need. And we ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Deputy Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Ms. Roth? Here. Mr. Peel?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Ms. North?
Here.
Mr. Van Houten?
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and that is consideration of adoption of a rural housing incentive district development plan and designation of a rural housing incentive district in the city of Spring Hill, Kansas, Wiswell Farms Rural Housing Incentive District. And Mr. Ellsworth, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tyler Ellsworth with the law firm of Kutak Rock, City of Blunt Council. I would actually like to.
Your mic's not on.
Yeah, I don't think your mic's on.
Thank you. All
There you go.
right, that's better.
There
Good evening, everyone, Mayor and Council. Tyler Ellsworth with the law firm of Kutak Rock, the city's bond council. As the mayor said, this public hearing this evening is in connection with the Rural Housing Incentive District for the Wiswell Farms project. I'd actually like to introduce the developers team. Chris Colson and his family are the developers, and his attorneys, I believe, have a presentation overall of the project and some additional details. And after that, I'll return and kind of wrap up for our portion of this.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Colson?
Thank you, Mayor. We have a PowerPoint. Is there a way to advance it, or do I just?
Oh, this is it.
Awesome. Thank you. I will try to be on good behavior. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Court Maxwell with the Polsinelli Law Firm appearing today on behalf of Ad Astra Holding. I also have with me Mr. Chris Colson, managing member of Ad Astra Holding, and very happy to be in front of you all to discuss the Wiswell Farms development. We've given this presentation before, but we'll try to fly over it quickly. And of course, if the members of the council or any members of the public have any questions that they want us to go into deeper detail, we're happy to do same. I think, as all know, we're talking about approximately 140 acres located between 191st and 199th on the east side of US 69. This is an assemblage of property that Ad Astra was able to put together over a number of years and be able to then come together to be able to put this project together. And there's a lot of different portions of it, but the first and most important thing is this property hasn't developed for all these years because it has no access. It doesn't have Webster Road. So the first most important part of this project is getting Webster Road built from 191st to 199th that will allow us to have access to be able to develop all the various parts of this project. The Wiswell Farms portion of it will be approximately 89 acres and will include 387 attainable homes, and there'll also be some portion of the site right up against 69 that can be used for additional multifamily units. We're also planning to dedicate almost 41 acres to the city for a parkland track, and then there's another 44 acres that will not be in the RHID that's up on 191st that we think will serve as an excellent commercial development track over in the coming years. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about specifically the single family that we are putting into the RHID and trying to develop out to do these attainable housing units. It's 4 phases, approximately 100 lots per phase. Each phase, we believe, depending on market conditions, right? And the market conditions, as all know and read every day, are a little bit more challenging than when we started this project a year ago. But we're still ready to move forward on it. But we believe that's about an 18 to 24 month time period per each of those roughly 100 home phases out there. The component of it is, and when we say attainable housing, we're looking for approximately $300,000. We would like that to be on the low end of that kind of 285 to 325. We'd like that to be on the low end of that, but we are not home builders. We are lot developers, and we're trying to develop lots at the absolute lowest cost so we can send them to a home builder, that a home builder can then be able to build many of these homes at a time. That 18 to 24 month period is really quick. They come in, build a ton of these homes at a time, and that's why we think we can deliver them at that price that is becoming harder and harder to find anywhere in Spring Hill, Johnson County, or beyond to be at those prices. Webster Road. The good part about this, as all on the council know, is that that Webster Road has been a large lift for a lot of years. About $6 million is what it will take to get that built. And we ended up receiving a base grant for the city of Spring Hill. One of the very few that happened in the first rounds of that all across the state. And we were happy to be a part of that and work with you all on that. We think this is a great example of a public-private partnership of building critical infrastructure, using those sort of COVID ARPA funds that then allow us to go out and do real economic development of bringing forward an approximately $100+ million project. The remaining portion of that road is approximately $3.6 million. That $3.6 million we're going to do in special benefit district that we've submitted and are working with you and your staff on all of this. And then the next part of it is to build out all of the interior infrastructure. We look at that as being about $50,000 a lot, $19 million of infrastructure that will happen over time. So what is the request that we are making of the council? And importantly, we're asking for that RHID incentive, and then we're asking for the Webster Road development to do the SBD. And what happens is we're using the increment that we will create out of the RHID of capturing this increment to pay for the special assessments that would come on Webster Road, so we can finance all of Webster Road, and then also do that interior lot infrastructure. And that is what is going to allow us to sell those lots at a price that is very low, but barely covering the infrastructure cost of all of this, and that then allows us to be able to deliver those attainable priced houses. I think this was quick on the RHID process. Tyler might go through, but as you all know, for the number of hearings we've had resolutions, we've had Secretary of Commerce approval. We called this public hearing, and now here we are at the public hearing. Our request of you is to continue this public hearing to December 8th, when we can then bring back to you a fully negotiated development agreement. We have had the benefit of working with Tyler, working with Lane, working with your city attorney, working with all the rest of staff, Pat Burton. We've met with them a lot of times now. It has been a healthy negotiation back and forth between us all, but I think we're all going to come forward on December 8th with a really good project and product that this council can be proud of, and frankly, beyond this council, all of this community can be proud of. The county, the school districts, all of the various stakeholders in this project, because we think it really is just a win-win-win economic development project for all of us to deliver that needed housing, but also be able to get critical public infrastructure into the city that has vexed us all for a long time on getting Webster Road built. So with that, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, would ask you to support continuing this hearing till December 8th, when we can bring back that fully negotiated deal to you. would stand for any questions of any members of the council or the public or otherwise. Please let us know what we can do to be a resource to you all on this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any of you members of the council or staff have any questions or comments on that?
Do you have an estimate of how many multi-units
We-
it's looking at?
Yeah, we don't at this time, Councilman. It's a little bit of a dependent on what's the exact type of product do you bring forward? When we say multi, could it be duplexes, triplexes? Is it actual vertical multi, garden style apartments? Like, all of that is something I think to be worked out between us as we move forward in the zoning land use planning process and further. We just know it's really good ground for it, and we think it's the right place for it, and we think it also helps all of the pro forma of all of us here to pay the cost, bring those down. It makes a ton of sense. But to be frank, our real focus has been, let's get Webster Road done, let's get the housing done. We think there's a market for that right now, and we can move forward quickly. But that's not to say that we're not very excited about the multi. It's just kind of juggling as many balls as we
Sure,
can. in
you
the
got several
time.
phases already.
Yep.
so.
Yep.
That's right.
I know for me personally, I'm excited about this. I think it was exciting to get the grant, and I think it's a great thing for the city, like you said, as attainable housing as possible, as low as possible, and then just that getting that area built out, I think will be a great tool to build development going north there and really capture that land and be able to use it for something that'll benefit the entire community.
Thank you, Mayor. We're excited about it, and we're excited to work with your staff. You guys have been great.
Okay. At this time, if there was anyone in the public that would like to step forward and ask any questions on this, if you can state your name and your address while you do. Go ahead.
My name is Mr. Tena Mugwagwa of 21297 West 219th Street, Spring Hill, Kansas. And I have to be the first one to come here because I didn't see anyone coming. But as he was saying, I got some notes down, and there are specifics. We've seen developers come here, ask for permission to do things, put it in the name of community, put it in the name of housing, and yet it doesn't get to us, the people that actually need housing. Because it doesn't. In his terms, all I heard was the developments. There's market for Webster, and he already has a 19 million budget, and yet he doesn't know if he's going to build 2 duplexes, quadruples, or what. That he doesn't know. So how did he even come to $19 million? And what is affordable? To your words, Mayor, you said, yes, I say yes because affordable housing, we want affordable housing as possible. And he said housing. I never heard that man mention once about affordable housing. There are parents and people in Spring Hill that work so hard, we can't afford to buy a house. And developers like him are coming and sweeping everything when we don't have anywhere to live. Do you want me to ask that man how many homes he owns right now? Do you want me to do that? Because I want to ask him. People cannot afford to buy houses because these developers are coming with these big objectives to a small community, small family, rural city of Spring Hill and messing everything for us. Why did I leave downtown Kansas City to come here? I came here so we could afford homes, so we could afford to start businesses. But that man and what he's trying to do does not consider every one of Spring Hill that's trying to start a life or move forward. It's only when we have these people coming, when say affordable housing, can we please have a figure? We are going to build units that are going from 50,000, 100,000, 120,000, 320,000. We want them to be specific so that when we allow them in our city, we know what we are going for. So that's where I stand for the people of Springhill and myself. Because the other houses that are there, we can't afford them, Mayor. We can't. So how can we let this keep happening? When there are women and children living with abusers because they cannot get out. They would rather be abused, and yet we are giving these sharks our land that we should be helping and saving us with the people. So there's a grant. Yes, there's a grant. You signed something, Mayor, and I would like to do a follow-up. Thank you for what you signed. I had a relief in me. When I saw what you signed in October, I wasn't around. Thank you, because I know you've heard us cry. You've heard us, and yet you are in the middle of this. There's nothing you can say to them, but I come here to stand in the middle and say, we need to redo the way we do things in Springhill. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to step up and say anything?
Hi, I'm Steve James. I live at 18907 Longview Road. Moved in a year ago, love it here. The only thing I don't love about it is I-69 and is it 121st? 191st. It's crazy taking a left-hand turn off of that, off of any of those directions. So I would love to hear what your plans are for that. Are we gonna get a set of lights as has been rumored? The trucks go barreling through there at 70 miles an hour. I know because they pass me. So just on those two technical issues, since it's gonna be a life impact and I live 500 feet from I-69 as the crow flies.
I assume you mean 169, correct?
169.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been fighting 69, 169 since I got here a year and a half ago. But
Yep. Yeah, they're both pretty close to each
so those two things are my biggies, and I'm just afraid somebody's going to get hurt taking a left-hand turn on I-69 someday. So, thank you for hearing me out.
And I will say something on that. We are all aware that is definitely in need of a stoplight there. Us and staff have been talking about it for a while. I believe there was even a study done on it. So it is definitely needs a stoplight, and we are in the process of that is a several-year process of getting a stoplight. But we are in the process of starting that, and we definitely know it's needed. I've driven across there quite a few times, and it's a much-needed intersection that needs a light. So, anyone else? If not, I would just entertain a consensus to continue this meeting until December 8th. We don't have to take enough. Yeah, we don't have to take an official vote.
Informal.
Yeah, we just need an informal consensus.
I would be in support of that.
This is pretty big, pretty important. We want to make sure we get it right, so.
Yep. And I think we want to give everyone that's involved the opportunity to be able to meet and speak and become comfortable with it and ask any questions that they have that they might not be comfortable with on it.
I actually got a citizen call right before the meeting that I told them we were gonna probably extend it so that they would have more time to research it and look into it and come speak if they wanted
Yep.
to.
And we want people to be able to have that information to really understand, because RHID is kind of a new thing. Well, it's not a new thing, but it's a new thing for this community, and
Here.
it's something people don't really understand. So that way, everybody can understand what it is and what it involves.
That's my understanding. We're also probably one of the few communities in Johnson County that can take advantage of this just because of our unique geographic location, so.
Yeah. All right.
I'm on board with
Everybody in general consensus? All right, well, we'll go ahead and continue that meeting on to December 8th. Next, we'll move on to formal council action. First item on the agenda is consider acceptance of annexation petition A-000054-2022, Spring Hill Victory LLC, J. Chaudhry, and that's 223rd Street and Victory Road. And Mr. Burton, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. So, this is right there at 223rd and Victory. It'd be the southeast corner. There's a ranch house there. It's 26 acres. It's not in the city. It is easily served by city sewer straight to the south. So it's very easily to be served. There's a small line extension that has to come up without any problems. The petition is from SH Victory LLC, and we reviewed it all. And this is just the acceptance of the annexation petition.
Any questions on that? I entertain a motion to accept the annexation petition.
I move to accept the annexation petition from
picture.
SH Victory LLC, J. Chaudhry.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of annexations A-000054-2022. Ordinance number 2022-31, SH Victory LLC, 223rd Street and Victory Road. Mr. Burton, you still have the floor.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me just stay up here while I'm going through that. This is the annexation part of the petition. Nothing's changed since I've talked to you, I hope. But we've been working with a developer on this for quite some time. The reason we didn't annex it right immediately is that we were looking into maybe servicing it water, honestly. So that did not pan out. So we have now go ahead through the annexation, and then you will see the preliminary plat and first phase final plat. Well, there'll be some rezonings first also. So it looks like it's going to be, well, it will be a really nice layout there. Utilization of the tree line area there, dividing off onto some different type of housing, single family up against the existing single family. They are proposing a few connected living by duplexes, and then the corner will be utilization for commercial. So it's a fairly typical design, if you can kind of imagine it. So, but we look for that intersection to be a very prosperous intersection.
You talking the northwest corner? The Victory corner?
Yes,
Okay.
of this piece of property.
Right.
Yes, of this piece of property.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's kind of
The northwest corner.
Not of the intersection
southeast.
of the blues
right.
property line.
I just wanted to make sure that we were clear. So I think we do expect this corner to be a very profitable commercial corner in probably a short amount of years. So we see no negative impact on this. We already go by it with snow trucks and all, because as you can see, 223rd Sweetwater, we plow all that anyway. So
There's houses on both sides.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's filling a gap.
it is. So
Any questions or comments on that? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve annexation ordinance number 2022-31, SH Victory LLC.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0.
thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is notice of destroyed residence 19711 Barstow Street in Spring Hill, Kansas, parcel number EP 650100002-0005. And this one, we've got Mr. Burton, Mr. Stefko, and Mr. Dunley. So whoever wants to take that first.
Mayor, council members, good evening. Before you, we have an item that we requested that be placed on this agenda because of the notice requirement. In August of this year, there was a fire at this residence. The residence was essentially destroyed. I'm going to summarize. June, I'm sorry. In August, the city began chasing the insurance company, who provided apparently the entire payment on the parcel to the owner of the residence, Christopher Baird. Pursuant to state law and the city's enactment of appropriate ordinances regarding same, the insurance company is required to pay 15% of a destroyed residence, essentially, or 75%. If 75% or more of a structure is destroyed, 15% of the payment must be made to the city. Progressive Insurance did not make such a payment. Mr. Baird did not make such a payment. Progressive, so Mr. Stavko informed me of the difficulty and asked us to get involved. We ran down Progressive. Progressive attempted to pass it off to their client, or their insured, and we said, you need to send us the money, you need to send the city the money. They indicated they were going to take action. They haven't taken action. We've been bugging them, and it is time for us to stop. Or it's not time for us to stop bugging them. Instead, it's time for the city to declare this, to hold a hearing to allow the city to destroy to demolish and remove the remnants of this residence. The city has an ordinance that permits it to do so, consistent with state law. However, in order to do that, the council must receive a written notice that the chief building inspector, which falls under the responsibilities of the city's director of community development, has found the home to be unsafe or represent a danger to public health, safety, or welfare. Mr. Burton has done so with the assistance of Mr. Stofko, and they're required to provide notice of that to you in writing and request that you set a date for hearing on the matter to any interested parties. This is necessary in order for us to secure a lien so that the city may call in, have the property, have this torn down, hauled away, made safe, and place a lien upon the property. We will continue to seek to recover from Progressive, but we will not file suit at this time as unless we are given direction otherwise, as this is the more economical approach for the city to obtain recovery. And I stand along with Mr. Stofko and Mr. Burton for any questions.
I'm assuming, did you say there was or was not communication with the mortgage owner?
There was communication with the mortgage owner who pointed us back to the insurance company.
But we haven't heard anything from the homeowner, right?
That's what I meant, I'm sorry.
We have spoken to the homeowner on one occasion, on more than one occasion, but have not received any.
Is there a mortgage company involved, or has that already been settled?
Oh, you want to address it? Okay, so do you? Well, you spoke to Gabe Greenbaum. He contacted you. Gabe Greenbaum?
How much is the grant that you spoke to? I'm here to want to figure out whatever we can do.
Yeah. So if you guys would like to say something, if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the microphone and just state your name and your address. And any of the public that does want to speak on this, I'll open this up at this time if you guys want to speak, and then we'll try to answer any questions that we can.
Well, I'm Chris Baird. This is my home, 19711 Barstow Street. In June, me and my family were woke up in the middle of the night to it being on fire. And until you live through something like this, I don't think that you can really understand being displaced and having 4 children and dogs and all that. With that being said, I have no excuses like to make here. I want this for the community and the neighborhood to be taken care of. I know it shouldn't be sitting there waiting. We had been waiting on our personal property to be assessed. They were dragging their feet on that. We have that back. So I just have to talk to Progressive and figure that out. I went there to get some of my children's clothes about 2 months ago. That was in the garage. And when I walked out, I was like confronted by a police officer at that time that really made me feel like I wasn't a member, like that wasn't my home, and in front of my child, and he was very scared, like and so I hadn't returned back since then, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like it hurt my mental health, and I haven't communicated the way that I would like to and get this taken care of, so I know that there's probably a lot of questions, and I have questions too, like
You don't know what you do when
yeah,
there's a
like
fire.
Progressive only is
We
like,
found
here's
a
your
letter
check.
on our door, and I immediately emailed Mr. Stofko. I'm not the homeowner, Chris is. And this was in October.
But that cop let me know that I wasn't supposed to be there, so we didn't see it until it was already
The
too
day
late.
of.
Like literally, I went into the garage to get my son's clothes that we had put in there because we were literally bouncing from place to place trying to
We're
take care of our
homeless.
children. And you know, done fine financially, but unfortunately, we were also hit with job layoffs. So I'm not here to like ask anybody to feel. I'm just asking for whatever time I will. I wanted to rebuild, but I think we're gonna sell it if we could and get this taken care of, or if I have to pay to get it into whatever condition you'll accept and not take it from me and lose what I worked so hard for and
I
was so
asked
proud
Mr.
of. I'll do
Stofko.
whatever it takes, but I haven't talked to a Gabe. Nobody, you wouldn't believe the
50%.
amount of spam phone calls that I've received on my phone from people hawking the hat. Like, I don't even know who to answer for anymore. And so I basically stopped answering for anybody that wasn't, but I am here tonight because I want to know
The moment we found
who.
the letter,
let me
we
see,
started
maybe.
calling and emailing, and it took quite some time to get a hold of Mr. Stofko. He did eventually reach out to me.
He's been emailing her, but told
I'm
her
not the
just a
homeowner.
couple days ago that he couldn't.
No, he told me yesterday,
Okay.
because I'm not the homeowner.
I just hadn't received an email, so I'm just here and say like I don't want this to be on anybody's problem.
We're just asking for an extension.
And education, like there is literally nothing that comes with something like they were like, hey, you have good insurance. Here's your check. Take care of it.
So,
I don't know.
Mr. Baird,
Yeah.
I'm incredibly sympathetic to the traumatic situation that you've had to endure. I can't, like you said, I can't imagine going through that, what that does to you mentally, physically, with your family, with your children, all those types of things. So I don't want to sound harsh or anything because I do sympathize for what you've been through. My biggest concern is the safety of the property, which has been unsafe for a great deal of time at this point now.
I agree.
But nobody should
I'd
be
like to
accessing
take-
it, right?
That they shouldn't, but that's very difficult to control that as well.
Especially with neighborhood kids. I know if I was a kid in the neighborhood at the time, I'd want to go explore it.
I was worried about Halloween.
Even if you're not supposed to, I know I would.
I
at that
understand.
age.
I'm here
On-
tonight asking,
Yeah. On top of that,
what can we do?
there's several other details that I don't think we need to discuss in a public forum that are concerning or troubling that I've been told about. So I think there's some discussion that you need to have with some of the city staff and maybe with some of us.
Okay.
But my priority right now, and I hope the governing bodies as well, is that the house needs to be demolished as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because it is a safety hazard and has been for several months.
I was telling the insurer that, and he was assuring me that it should be rebuilt.
So that
We're asking you to let them.
that is my
do
goal.
that.
I agree.
And I'm worried that if we give you an extension tonight, that we won't see that happen.
It will,
That's what I'm concerned about.
it will.
I will follow through. If I know who to contact, phone number, I will be all over it. Like,
Have you had a house fire?
I have not. That's what
Would you know what to do?
I would not,
It's
but
very hard. With four
I
children.
completely sympathize with you about that. And that's why I said I don't want to sound harsh.
no,
I
listen,
assure you
I
it will be
understand
taken care of.
she's hurt. I understand anybody's frustration with this situation. I wouldn't want it sitting there if my house was still intact, but what I'm asking is just for those people that are frustrated, please step back for a second and think about what it would feel like if you had to pick up your children. And I'm not 100% sure what you're alluding to, but people that don't know us and just made assumptions because they don't,
Because we didn't
I've had
share with them.
to, because I didn't stand around in the driveway and
That's
drink beer with them, but I'd rather play sports with my kids. And I'm
That's
young
another
with,
difficult
I don't,
situation.
but it's, honestly, and that's what, I wasn't even gonna allude to anything to you. It's been hard to hear what people have said behind our back, and I hold no ill will, because what people don't know, they create their own story, so that's my fault for not speaking up and saying,
Can I interrupt real quick? I apologize. It sounds like
Yeah.
we need to set up a meeting and just figure out some
I
sort
wanna
of
take credit for you
cooperation
guys, I'm
of figuring out this. I mean, I don't think this necessarily has to play out here, but as long as there's cooperation, we need to move forward with
Yeah.
removing the property. It's unsafe. You guys shouldn't be in it, let alone anybody
Right.
else. Like
Absolutely.
it's not safe for anybody to be in there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we need to move forward with getting rid of the property and taking care of tearing it down.
I
And
agree.
then the finances can be worked out at some point.
And you guys,
That's
like,
all I
you need to be here
wanted to talk about.
tomorrow, getting this taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking with our staff, going through the steps, having them help you.
Having cooperation is.
Before, when somebody
listen.
was going for my job, it was very difficult when I'm working from like, it's a back, like, I was protecting my family and just had to work.
And it's very
I'm available
important.
now.
It's incredibly important that you were here tonight to come and speak. And
Yes, thank
if,
you.
if
guys.
you had not been here tonight, then there's no doubt that we would have demoed this property.
I understand.
And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen still, but you guys need to be on this immediately.
I'm asking just for the consideration. The reason it was late is because after that time, I didn't return back there. My mother actually sent me a picture, said I swung by the house, Chris, we need to take care of this.
I was there today.
Okay.
I've seen.
I think we have the
I
same
walked the
common goal, and like I said, I understand anybody's frustration.
We may be
I
able
just
to-
would like somebody to talk to and figure it
we
out,
may
and
be able to
obviously
assist
tonight's
in
probably
this
not.
regard. If,
Do you want to step up to the microphone, Chuck, so we can hear you?
if you wish to consent to the city's demolition at this time of the property and your responsibility for that demolition from the proceeds of your insurance, then you can consent to it. We can demolish it and you can pay for it from the proceeds of your insurance, and there will be no need for a hearing. I'll give you while we're discussing it here, we will in fact put this in writing as real property requires a written contract. However, what we've done tonight is ask the council to set this for a hearing so that you can show cause why it shouldn't be torn down or the city shouldn't take action. But if you consent to that action, then it makes the rest of it moot and we can move forward. But you'll have to commit to the payment and the lien, and we'll need to notify, of course, lien holders. That would also allow us to bring your insurance agent into it. We have sent emails, we have spoken with the insurance company, and we have that information in our file. However, this is just setting a time for a hearing because the city's chief building inspector has determined that it is an unsafe structure. And I think we'll all agree to that.
So you're saying that we still set the hearing? And
Yes.
you guys commit to work with the staff on resolving the issue. If we get to the hearing and the issue's been resolved at that point, then there's no point in having the hearing.
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
That was gonna be my recommendation. The same thing, and I understand that not
I do have-
speaking leaves things in the air, but that's why I'm here tonight. And I honestly, you said be here tomorrow, or I'm like, tell me what I need to do.
Any one of these four gentlemen right here we'll be able to assist you.
Okay, can I ask a question? I have like mementos, like important family heirlooms in the home. How do I access those?
Talk to Mr. Stuffclow.
Yeah, building.
Figure all those
Yeah,
details.
and yeah, you can figure that out, but they will figure out how to get you safe access to get any personal items that you want to get from the property.
Okay, thank you.
You guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor and Council, we still would like you to adopt, the resolution for the removal of the property, with setting the hearing, you can table or reject. And one of the other, items that will happen is there will be, a fence put around the property in the next few days. We're working with the fence company to, correct, to do that, so.
So the resolution just sets the hearing.
Yes,
And approves the
Yes.
demolition of it.
and approves demolition of it.
Right. What's the date?
Yeah, do we have a
Hearing.
date?
The 30, oh, the hearing date?
Next meeting date?
January. The first meeting in January, I'm sorry.
Anybody have a calendar? January 12th?
Well,
That's another
that's,
2 months that it's.
that's why we're gonna have to
Theoretically.
fence it.
Is that the fastest that we can do this?
Yes, if you wish to
According
have
to
it
the,
I'm sorry, I think there's some.
if they agree to what they talked about before, and we'll work with them tomorrow, then we can have it done quick.
Right, so if we have
let's
cooperation,
set
it
the-
can go faster, but this would be the fastest timeline we could do
We could have the hearing.
if there was no
To-
cooperation.
According to legal, that is correct.
So this is just the fastest we can have the hearing. If they, like you said, if they approve us to demo it, we could demo it as soon as the contractor can sign a
That's
contract and get it done.
That is correct.
So that's more of if there's not cooperation, that's the dead end date that says we can move forward on our own.
Okay.
Okay. At this time, I believe there are a few other members of the community that would like to step up and speak on this. Mr. Seth Hunt is the first person on the list. If you'd like to step up and, say your name already, but if you state your name and your address.
My name's Seth Hunt. I'm the, my address is 17209 West 197th Terrace, Spring Hill, Kansas. So I'm the president of the HOA of the Prairie Ridge subdivision. And so I'm just kind of here to represent the neighborhood because I've received multiple complaints, obviously, on the house. And I'm just asking the city council to really move forward because the HOA has not been able to get a hold of the homeowners this entire time, even leaving phone messages, text messages, and even right after it happened, because really it was pretty devastating, and we're very sympathetic to the situation. So we actually just reached out to see if there was anything that the HOA could do, and even from day one to now, I still haven't actually been able to get a hold of him. So this was actually the first time I've actually even seen him. So I think the follow through just isn't going to be there, unfortunately. There was another house that actually caught on fire at the same time. I think it was like within the same day or within a week. And that house is actually already almost rebuilt, and they're moving in. So, it's just, I think, with the span of time that this has been going on, we're just really wanting the city to kind of move forward. From the HOA, I've talked to our attorney, and our hands are tied if they weren't. I've had so many neighbors complain just about how unsafe it is. We would have tried to have moved forward ourselves, but unfortunately, we don't have any power, and we rely on you guys to do it. Just kind of thinking back again, very sympathetic, but the house has caught fire almost over 6 months ago, whatever it's been. But they could have gotten belongings out within the first week. I know that's what I would have done. If it was my house, I probably would have been the next day, had a contractor, everybody coming out to assess the damage, so that way rebuilds can start right away, because you got to get on their calendar. So, it's just been so long, and the follow through and the communication with them has just been not lacking, just zero, obsolete. So, we're just asking for the city council to just go ahead and move forward, to go ahead and tear it down. unsightly, obviously we could all talk about that, but our biggest concern is the safety. It's wide open, there's no fence, and, as you guys know, kids will go into, they shouldn't, right? And we try to keep a lookout, as neighbors, but kids will sometimes, explore where they shouldn't. And my biggest worry was, an 8-year-old, kid gets in there and then a gust of wind comes, and, that would be even more devastating if, we lost an 8-year-old child, because the city didn't do something, that would be pretty devastating, I think, to the community. So, that's just what I'm asking, is for you guys to just go ahead and move forward as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
And I think that's, echoing what Mr. Peel said earlier, and I think all of us would agree that safety is our biggest priority, and keeping kids safe and the entire community safe. So once again, we're very sympathetic with with the homeowners. I had a friend just a couple weeks ago that lost their house, completely lost everything. Same thing, middle of the night, and it was devastating to them and their family. And so very sympathetic to that, but also, we need to move forward and take safety as the highest priority. So next we have John Pullman.
Good evening, John Pullman, 19807 Barstow Street in beautiful Prairie Ridge. I'd just like to, I don't want to repeat everything that you've just heard. I echo those sentiments. If you could move with all haste. Besides kids, vermin are in there. There's animals living in there. They've had plenty of time to get their stuff out. With this process, I know there's still time to get stuff out. Mementos, keepsakes, things that are important in this unfortunate situation. But please get that torn down as quickly as you can, with all haste. If there's anything we can do to support you, we will. Let us know. But that's all I want to say is get it down, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list we have Mr. Adam Nelson.
Good evening. I'm Adam Nelson. I live at 19709. Well, excuse me, 19709 Barstow Street. I live to the east of this property. I just come to urge you guys with the same sentiments as Mr. Pullman and Mr. Hunt here, is to tear it down as quickly as possible. I got a 6 and a 9-year-old that play outside all the time. There's glass all over the sidewalk, the street. I cleaned up as much as we can, but every time we have a storm or something happens, there's crap blowing through my yard. The other day, after we had the snowstorm, there's shingles, insulation, other contaminants everywhere. Neighbors on the other side aren't as lucky as I am. At least I have the pretty side of the property. They have to look into that every single morning with their kids. There's pieces of the house falling off into their property. Everyone's kids in the neighborhoods are less than 10. We all try and look out for each other, like everyone said, but sometimes you can't stop them, especially from playing on the sidewalk, which is rightfully public property, right? They should have the right to ride their bikes down the sidewalk without stepping on glass, or getting injured. I will say, you say you can't get your belongings out of the house. There's a remediation company there, September 1st, called FRS Team, and they were removing belongings from the house. I don't know if you want to get a hold of them. Stuff has been happening. That's all I can really say is please help us get rid of this nuisance. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to step up and speak on that matter? If not, we'll just once again encourage the homeowner to talk with staff. Pat, did you have anything else you wanted to say on that?
No, we just want to go ahead with the resolution, please.
Yes.
For the resolution.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, I think to strongly urge the homeowners, I think they should.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He stepped out. Yeah. If I lived there, I'd have a bad vibe on this. I'll be honest with you guys.
And we typically do not have these type of troubles because the insurance companies follow the state law and deposit money with us. I think we learned a lesson this time that we're not going to wait. We've been trying to work with the insurance company. There's been emails going back and forth and everything. So
I get that. I think, look, we're empathetic, but 6 months, right? And not ever communicating, that doesn't add up. So empathy is one thing. I think personal responsibility, I just want to make sure that's established, right? I think, gosh, it stinks, bad deal. But there is a personal responsibility, you know, to clean this up. So, and if it's not on you, it's on us. So if you're asking it to be on us, then that's the answer, right? And it needs to get done. So I want to relay that information, you know, that to you in the strongest way possible. Because I feel like we're giving you an opportunity here to make it right.
Yeah, like this is the last chance.
Like this is it, yeah. Like you don't show up tomorrow in the next few days.
The last chance is only happening because you're here tonight.
Bingo.
Yes, thank you guys for coming. I'm sure it was difficult.
That's right. So
Couple more questions.
Yeah, if you guys like to step up and. And if you could just state your name and your address and, yeah.
My name is Libby Lichtenauer. I live actually directly behind Ashley and Chris on 19717 Barstow Street. We were one of the first people on scene the night of the fire, so it brings me to tears to think what they went through. We saw it. We helped them gather things afterwards, so lots of sympathy. But to echo this, I guess I'm just curious more on the timeline of, sounds like there's maybe decision to move forward, but then how long does it take to demolish? There's mildew and mold and the roof continues to cave in. Again, if nothing else, please get a fence up like as soon as possible. As they stated, there's glass. Nothing was picked up after the fire, and we can't prevent, there's no fence between our yard and theirs or our neighbors, so our pets, our kids, we all have littles. They could fall directly into the basement, which is filled with water, and I can't imagine another snowstorm, another wind, another rain. So just, I don't know what you can do to just give us a timeline. Maybe that would be
I
helpful.
think a fence, they said in the next couple days, hopefully, and then.
No, Pat, you
We'll get a
Just went
fence. We'll get a fence. We went, Brandon, taped it off, and we've already have a contractor in line. Spoke with him, but he will work on, fencing it immediately.
I was gonna say, Brandon, do you have anything? I know you've been the one.
Go
up
ahead.
there.
He wants to talk.
Yeah,
Make it
Stavko, I work for the city doing code enforcement. I met some of you, not others. We got some guy up here earlier talking about building 400 houses. I'm talking about wanting to take one down. So everybody that's spoke on behalf, Seth, I know some other people I've talked. Sorry, I keep on turning around looking at them. But I know I've spoke with most people here, trying to get this thing resolved, and I don't know what Seth does for a living, but he should be some kind of like a public speaker because he just hit every point on the head. Communication with them has been zero. You know, I did post letters on the house because the mail would get sent back to me. So I did that, not because I had to, but because I thought it was only fair to let them know what was going on. On 2 days ago, prior to this, then Ashley had, said, hey, I'm gonna call you on this day. I gave her my information, nothing. It just seems to be just, excuse after excuse on why things aren't getting done. They're here tonight because I sent them an email on Tuesday saying, hey, we're having a meeting. This is what's gonna happen. I haven't spoken with Mr. Baird at all. So if he wants to, show up here, that would be great. And here they are. But until that point, nothing. So, I have zero confidence that they will follow through with anything based on my personal experience with them. And it does need to be taken down. It's a hazard. That's all there is to it.
Well, I think at this point, it sounds like we're gonna move as quickly as we can, give them a chance to do it before we do, and if they don't, then we'll.
But
do it
we
as
will
quickly as
move
we
forward
can.
with fencing.
Yeah.
So bottom line.
I don't have a lot of confidence that they're gonna follow through either, but I feel like it's fair for us to give them a final chance because they were here in person tonight. And
Okay,
this was their last chance to do something or do the right thing, and
But
may or may not be correct with what actually ends up happening, but I feel like that's the right thing to do tonight.
Yeah, and regardless, we're gonna get it fenced as soon as possible and move forward with getting it demolished as fast as we.
Okay, and as far as the-
fast as we legally can.
That's the biggest thing is I think we have to keep in mind, worst case scenario, let's assume that we never, have any more communication with them. We've got to do this hearing. We've got to set this is following
Do,
legal
yeah, do all
guidelines.
the steps we can.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
And
move
because
forward
we
with it.
are held by those laws, assuming worst case scenario, if we don't ever hear from them again, we have to follow these steps to move
And,
forward.
and unfortunately, we do, like, it would
There
be
is a
nice if we
time
could
frame.
just knock it down, tomorrow, but we can't, unfortunately can't do that. We do have to follow the legal process and the timeline.
But we're gonna do it as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, as far as like the request for providing phone numbers of people who would take care of this or knock it down, that's really not on me. That's not my job. If I get in a car accident, I don't call someone and say, hey, who should I call? I figure it out and I call someone.
Yeah, I am
So-
confident that with cooperation, the city can facilitate this happening in a faster timeline.
Yes.
So if
And
we can
that's-
get cooperation, I feel confident that that will happen. If we don't get cooperation, then we will move as quickly as we possibly legally can.
Yeah, we'll take it into our own hands along with legal if we don't get cooperation from them, and we will make it happen.
And I know you've been trying your best, so thanks for all you've done. I know you've been out there a lot.
And thank you to all you neighbors and
Yeah,
everyone that contacted us over the last week or two, or even last several months, and that showed up tonight. We do very much appreciate you guys keeping us aware of it.
Yeah.
I did drive by it probably maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and then again recently. So it's pretty rough.
Yeah, and it's not, we feel for anybody that has to go through a home fire, but the neighbors, like you guys have been through a lot. We sympathize with you guys as well. Especially you folks that live right next door and you've been staring at this reminder of that traumatic event for months. And so that's awful, and I'm so sorry that you guys are having to do that. So we're gonna do what we can to not just work for, you guys, but the community as well.
I know for me, I've got 4 kids, and it would be almost impossible. My kids mind pretty well, but it'd be almost impossible to keep them out of that house for 6 months if I lived next door.
Treasure hunt.
I think the biggest concern is that fence might be put up, but it's still not protecting the neighbors from the trash that's blowing in their yards and the glass and everything, the rodents. That'd be terrible. to
Is there
have
any
that
kind of
water
cleanup that
sitting
we
there.
can do, kind of on some of that loose stuff that's already there? Or if it's-
Anywhere on the right of way, we will have clean tomorrow, I
Okay.
guarantee it.
It's not too bad. I was there today. So I walked
Say
around.
last week there was a lot all over.
I walked around the property today. That there is some glass, but most of it had been swept up to the property. I didn't see anything on the sidewalk, nothing on the driveway, nothing like that, nothing out in the road or anything like that.
I swept all that up.
Thanks for doing
Thank you.
Mr.
appreciate
Benley,
it,
I'm
sir.
assuming there's also some legal guidelines that we have to follow, like we can't just go on that property ourselves because it is, we can, okay, all right.
We can go on, code enforcement. can
Code
go on the
enforcement
property.
can.
Okay, okay,
Mr. Stofko has been on the property and inspected.
okay.
Council members, mayor, no good deed goes unpunished. Mr. Stofko, Mr. Burton, we have attempted, and myself has attempted to provide as much assistance as possible. At this point, that's gone. In order for the city to secure a lien for this cost, the legal process requires us to notify you in writing and for you to set a hearing date. Unfortunately, a hearing has to be held 30 days after last publication. And so we will notify all those involved. If they consent to this and draw up a contract with somebody to tear it down, which we'll do for them and with them, and it'll be a lien on the property, then this can be done as soon as, a couple of days, as soon as we can get a contractor out there.
All right.
But they have to agree to it and sign for it.
And
Then it's their mechanics.
And that opportunity is clearly in their court at this point. It's right in their lap.
So
Yes, sir.
once again, if they're still listening, I know they stepped out, but if they're still listening, I would implore the homeowners to please contact the city tomorrow and get
I would
this
be
ball
knocking on the door at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
get this ball rolling so we can move past this and give relief to themselves and the entire community.
And we will include we'll make sure that there's a good fence put up, an attempt to block debris from going into others' yards, and that will be part of the process as an emergency basis here.
And obviously a fence is not gonna stop everything, but it's at least a step in the right direction towards safety for the community. So,
We appreciate all the work you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Brandon, or Mr. Slavko.
Sure.
Sure.
Fire away. So, do I need to state my name again?
No, you're
Yeah, we forgot it. No, I'm just.
So, these are more towards, for you guys, after the home is demolished, we have the fence up. What's gonna be the state of the property? Is it gonna be demolished to the foundation? Is the foundation going to be removed? Are we gonna have a muddy lot? Are we gonna plant grass seed? What's the state?
Right, so-
Who's going to care for it? Who's gonna mow it? My understanding is legally, if, let's say they finish abandoning the property like they have up to this point, then the city has to sit on it for 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Pat can speak to
Mr.
that.
Burton can.
How are we going to care for the property
Right, so
up until we're able to resell that lot?
so first, everything will be removed and it will be a flat lot if we have to haul dirt back in, which is most likely. It'll be seeded, and then if they do not maintain the property, we notify them one time. And then after that, they're put on a rotational mowing. That billing goes onto the tax roll.
Yep.
And it usually, to be real honest with you, it takes 5 years.
Okay, okay.
And-
I'm fine
and
with
state
having it
law
in the
says
lot for
3,
5 years.
But then it goes 1 year of process, and then by then, you're into your 5th year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But it will be, like he said,
In reality.
it'll be empty, it'll be leveled out, it'll be seeded.
and it'll probably have to be maintained by the.
Okay.
So it'll be a nice yard for the
There you
kids
go.
to
That-
play, to
that-
play in for a few
Baseball field.
years.
To be clear, that's if we have to take care of it. If, however, the mortgage company does not get paid, and receives no proceeds from the homeowner or the insurance company either, then the mortgage company may seek to foreclose upon that property, in which case it will move much more quickly
faster.
than a tax foreclosure. And could happen in the course of about a year.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the ear.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments on that? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I move to approve resolution number 2022-R-24.
Second, or that's all we need?
Do you need the description? Or is the resolution number good enough? Destroying residence, 19711 Barstow Street, Spring Hill, Kansas, parcel number Echo Papa 6501000020005.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. This time, that's all the items on the formal council action, and we'll move on to executive session. And I believe the first one, we need approximately 20 minutes for. No, there's only one. Oh, I said first one.
It doesn't list who needs to be present. Do we know?
Yeah, it does.
This one. Oh, down.
Sorry. I got one here. I move the city recess into executive session for 20 minutes to receive advice of counsel regarding anticipated litigation and contract negotiations pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exception of KSA 75-431-9B2 of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 8:25 p.m. No formal action is anticipated following the session. Persons to be in attendance are the following: F. Charles Dunley, City Attorney; Mr. Lane Massey, City Administrator; Mr. Pat Burton, Community Developer Director; Ms. Mona Keisha Jones, Human Resources Director.
Tyler Ellsworth.
Oh,
It does.
It's not on the list.
and Mr. Tyler Ellsworth, Hutak Rock.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. See you guys shortly.
not gonna stand up and hear it argue, tell a lie. You're lying.
Like the weekend.
Welcome back, everybody. Let the record reflect that the governing body reconvened in open meeting at 8:25 PM. No votes were taken or decisions made during the executive session. The discussion was limited to the subject stated. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Just carries 5-0-0. Have a good night, everybody.